You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It's takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
Hello, America. This is Rick Robinson. I'm one half of the crew of the Jen and Rick Show. We are live right now on KLRNradio.com. In case you haven't noticed, because I probably sound slightly different than usual, I'm having really, really bad allergies this evening. So luckily, I have a co-host with me, Miss Jen, who can talk more. Because in case we also got a late start or a later than usual start. Not naming any names, but you know who you are. No, I'm just playing. but because of that, we, in between me barely being able to breathe and the later than usual start, there will not be an America Off the Rails tonight. I will make it up to you guys at some point, probably, if I can breathe, because it's bad. So anyway, good evening, Jen. How are you? Because I don't know about you, but trying to keep up with the news cycle over the last 48 hours about has me looking for the duct tape again. Remember how we used to, during the election, we would find the duct tape and wrap it around our heads to make sure it didn't explode because of all the craziness? I think we're kind of back there again.
Yeah, we definitely are. We were saying, I can't even keep up. There is so much going on in between juggling, real work and family, and it's summer, and there's so much happening, and traffic is terrible where I live, and between all the things, I'm like, I cannot keep up when the news, sometimes I look at something, and then I go to look at it 30 minutes later because I've only read half the article, and there's already 2 or 3 updates on it because things are developing so fast, and also because journalists are putting stuff out before they actually, have the full story. So that's another aspect of it. But yeah, everything's updating so fast. I used to be able to get on Twitter after work and go, hey, also what happened today? If I wasn't able to get on today, and I could get a quick little rundown. Now it's if you do that, I get 15 or 20 replies, and they all say 8 or 9 different things instead of just all telling me the same 2 things. It's insanity.
Part of it's because I think the Democrats have figured out the way to keep everybody off balance is information overload. Because if you look at this news cycle over the last 48 hours, it has been insane. We have, because the Democrats, when they used to try to push out a story, it was they put out this memo, right? And everybody had the same talking points, and it was the same headlines, and it was how they're talking about bots now on Twitter, where they start doing comparisons, and they're these 14 accounts are all saying the exact same tweets at the exact same time with the exact same hashtags in the exact same format. That was how Democrats used to disseminate information. Now they've gotten a little bit smarter about it, because now they're just, it's like dealing with an anthill. Because they're just all over the one topic, but they're coming at it from 14 different angles, and then they're throwing the little misinformation things out there, and it's impossible to keep up with. Today, since the Russia story from yesterday, the thing that was as bad as Pearl Harbor and worse than 9/11, and Trump's a traitor and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Look, Trump meeting with a foreign dignitary does not make him a traitor. The fact that you guys think he's in Putin's pocket, that may or may not make him a traitor. If that is the case, however, I really don't think that it is, because there's a thing that happened yesterday that nobody's talking about, but we're about to. Because there was this little piece of information that Putin himself let out during the press conference, talking about how money made it from Russia to Hillary Clinton. And it was a really big bombshell that everybody just kind of let just fall and just sit there, and only like 2 or 3 people have picked up on it. And I'm sitting here going, you guys don't realize what this means. The person that arranged this to happen had renounced their U.S. citizenship. They are now a citizen of the UK, which means it is illegal for them to do what they did, whether it was 50 cents, whether it was $1, whether it was $400 billion, it doesn't matter. The fact that that money made it from Russia into America through the Hillary Clinton Foundation and nobody's paid taxes on it on either side to boot makes this illegal in so many ways that it's not even funny. And it didn't come from Trump. It didn't come from the media. It didn't come from anybody else. It came from the leader of Russia. And he said, we know this for a fact. This has happened. And yet nobody's talking about it because Russia and because Trump is Putin's puppet. Kind of seems like it might be the other way around. Just saying.
Well, I hadn't heard about this either, about him having renounced his U.S. citizenship and all of that. So that definitely is a huge red flag. But, with the media, that's what's always going to take precedence, though, is anything that is more along the lines of being anti-Trump than anything else is what's going to take hold and what they're going to push the most. Either that or a tragedy they can exploit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, not only that, but all the stuff yesterday. I mean, look, I'll be the first one to admit it. I've come to respect a lot of things that Trump has done, but it's not like I've bought a ticket to the Trump train. He sounded like an absolute blithering idiot yesterday, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat that. The dude really needs prep work before he goes out in front of millions of people on the world stage. But the simple fact of the matter is we didn't hire him for that. I should say, you guys that voted for him, you didn't hire him for that. I technically didn't hire him at all because I didn't vote for him. But I'm still stuck with him, and I'm still trying to make the best out of what is kind of a bad situation. But at the end of the day, a lot of things have gone right in this country since he's been elected. Now, you can do the thing of the Democrats and what they always do. When everything's bad, it's always the previous administration's fault. Now that everything's good, it's all because of Obama. Never mind the fact that Obama's been out of office for nearly 2 years, and the economy didn't start turning around until he was out of office because everybody's consumer confidence started coming up. There were tons of regulations that have been cut from the EPA. Donald Trump, with his pen, has undone a lot of the damaging executive orders that Obama did that were crippling to our economy. But yeah, let's let Obama have the credit. I really don't care. The simple fact of the matter is, in a lot of ways, our economy is doing better than it's done in decades. And every time you turn around, the Democrats are like, but Russia, but Russia, but Russia. And why did he just meet with Putin? Why isn't anybody there? Let me tell you what would have happened. Trump called this meeting, but after he called the meeting, no matter what he chose to do with it, it would have been a no-win scenario. Because first it's, well, why doesn't he want anybody there? Why are they meeting behind closed doors? Why does nobody know what happened? But as soon as Trump said, he could have said, hey, we're going to put this whole thing on C-SPAN in front of interpreters and you guys and everybody else, and you can hear everything we're talking about. Oh, look, Trump's nervous. He doesn't want to meet behind closed doors with Putin. That would have been how they spun it. It wouldn't have mattered what he did yesterday. It would have been wrong. And there were things that he said yesterday that were wrong. But it's not Hiroshima, Nagasaki level stupid, like they're making it out to be.
Well, all of the comparisons are crazy. The fact that they're calling it the Treason Summit. I mean, come on.
I mean, it kind of is a treason summit, but not in the way they were expecting. If what Putin said was true, there is a side that committed treason.
Well, but this is part of the thing too, though, is that this recent indictments and then some of Putin's, what we found to be true in some of his admissions, that they want it to be the same thing as the Trump administration or the Trump campaign at the time colluding, and those are two different things. Russian interference is one thing. The campaign colluding with the Russians to create more interference is a totally different thing. So just because these 12 indictments came down, which we'll never really get to see everything fully fleshed out from that, because Russia's not going to, they're not going to extradite those intelligence officers and that were indicted. And so they won't appear in court, and we won't have testimony, and we won't have records and all of those things. So we'll never kind of really know all the stuff on that. But, it was considered interference, not hacking, and that it didn't actually change anything vote-wise. It exposed the Democrats. So And I understand from a Democratic point of view that they go, this is outrageous. They screwed with us. They exposed us. They, mingled in and created havoc within the DNC and between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, all of these things. And I understand being frustrated as a Democrat and saying, how can you say that's not a big deal? And why are Republicans rolling their eyes? But then in the same breath, they want it to be Trump's fault. And how Trump acts over there or how he talks to Putin still doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things of that. None of these things were done by Trump, so they are not at his feet. In fact, a lot of it was done on Obama's watch and should be at his feet if you want to point some blame. But they want it to be the same thing. They want that to indicate guilt on the part of the Trump administration or the Trump campaign. And damn it, give them their impeachment already.
But here's the thing, and this is what drove me crazy yesterday. I saw this a million times yesterday on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else. With what we've now seen in Helsinki today between Russia and America, there is now not a doubt that Donald Trump should be ousted as the U.S. president and Hillary Clinton should be installed as the U.S. president immediately because, after all, she won the popular vote. And that was me right there. What you just did all day yesterday. It was glorious. I'm sitting here wishing I had popcorn at my desk going, man, this is so much fun to watch.
I just love it. I mean, let's just say that Donald Trump, or let's just say that somehow, some way we were to rule the election was stolen or something hacked and this and that. The fact that they think what will happen is that everything that Trump's administration will all just be escorted out immediately, that Hillary Clinton will be installed, that every executive order, every policy decision will all be made will just be null and void, and that every court appointment from the lower federal levels up to the Supreme Court will just all have to go away and start over brand new. And I'm sorry that they live in this fantasy land, but that is not how it works, and it's never going to happen. And I just love that I see sometimes prominent people kind of suggest this thing, and I either have to, I have to look at it a couple ways. Either A, they are just riding off of the emotion and kind of the fire under the bellies of the far left and of the leftist base, and so they want to kind of continue to encourage that and encourage their outrage and anger, or they're really that dumb. And some of them, I think and that it doesn't have to actually be an or, it can be an and as well. But I think that some of them truly are like they are sure of it. They just know that this is what would happen because it's fair to them. That's what would be fair. And they don't care about all the other, all of the laws and just legal intricacies in place for handling basically anything that is thrown at our republic, even if it has never truly been done before, that they have convinced themselves that this would be the only fix.
The funny thing is, because I know we've got liberals that listen to the show, so we're gonna educate them for about 2 minutes. So this is what happens if they find out that there's some sort of illegal activity with the Trump administration, they're gonna have to start by trying to impeach Trump. Even if they can get everybody to vote for impeachment, they still then have to vote for removal, which has never really actually happened before, except for I think maybe once. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, all the dominoes fall the right way, and Trump is impeached and then eventually voted to be censured and removed from office. That then makes President Pence. So the people that hate Trump and think that Pence is going to lock all the gay people up in camps and do the whole, gay conversion therapy thing, all of a sudden he's president. So then let's say, for the sake of argument, because of the same collusion scenario, they can get Pence voted for impeachment and then get him ousted. So then what happens? Because there's this thing called the line of secession. That means we have President Eddie Munster, a.k.a. Paul Ryan. I don't know about any of you, but I don't want President Eddie Munster. I didn't really even want Vice President Eddie Munster, but I didn't really have a choice at the time.
I mean, I still would take him over any of the variety of the Democratic Party, but But they also think that he's evil, right? They think everybody on the right is evil. So none of this would satisfy them. But they think that they can stomp and march and, pussy hat wear their way into demanding that Hillary be put in office.
Yeah, well, let them try.
I mean, I'm just enjoying it. I'm like, pop some more popcorn, whatever.
I mean, the whole thing is now they're talking about her trying to maybe run for 2020. I'm just like, are they going to hook her up for life support and push her around on a hover round? Because, I mean, by then, she couldn't even walk this go around. What's she going to be like in 2 more years?
They can't possibly be that stupid, but if they are, God bless them. Trump 2020.
I'm telling you, they're gonna weekend at Bernie's her. Even if she winds up being awarded the presidency posthumously, and then whoever becomes vice president magically becomes president, because they're going to be like, in a shocking development, Hillary Clinton, now voted in as president of the United States, passed away in her sleep peacefully, and now we have Vice President Elizabeth Warren or some bullshit that's now going to be basically moved to the presidency, and then we'll have President Pocahontas, which would be kind of scary. The good news is I really don't see that happening.
No.
Because no matter how hard the left tries, the more they scream and yell about how bad everything is, the more the real stories are starting to come out. If I can get it to play, because I unfortunately didn't have time to rip it beforehand, but if I can get it to play, I have some audio from Louis Gohmert that I want to let everybody hear, if I can make it work. So bear with me for just a second here while I try. Is I kind of need to make sure it's backed up.
But let me say this, and it goes with what the president's getting mocked for in Russia. I brought this out, and the mainstream media will not touch it. To me, Fox is the mainstream media, but that is, we know, there is no question, the intelligence community inspector general sent Chuck McCulloch, sent his investigator, Frank Rucker, who told Dean Chappelle and Peter Strzok that despite what some of the media was saying, a major foreign power had gotten every one of over 30,000 Hillary Clinton emails through her own server, everything that came and went except for 4. And Peter Strzok did nothing about it. And apparently he didn't tell Lisa what he had learned from the Intel Community IG. But they sat on that. And right. The president knows that.
All right, so there's the audio on that. Hang on, I got to adjust a couple
Russia
things here. Hang on.
Everything. You talk about playing in the election.
Right. And yeah, that's enough of that. But anyway, so you get the gist of it there. That's basically talking about what we're now starting to understand happened with the server, which probably explains why they didn't want the FBI to look at it, and probably why they brought in this private company to do all the work that was also affiliated with the Hillary Clinton campaign. Is because remember, during the Strzok hearings, they actually found out that there was what would probably be referred to as a blind carbon copy to an unknown entity for every single email, and it turns out that was an entity from a foreign power, not Russia. So now nobody's come out and actually said this in anywhere behind closed doors, or that wasn't behind closed doors, but the running rumor is that it was likely China that got pretty much everything that was on that server, which is another reason why the Democrats right now are screaming so loud about this Russian summit, because, and I said this to people yesterday, while we're all screaming about this and why everybody's screaming about it, what's going on that we're not talking about yet? And now the other shoes are starting to drop. And in this case, it's become shoes because there's always more than one follow-up because there's all this distraction going on. Like apparently, and I didn't know this till I started researching it today, apparently Strzok was growing up as a child in Iran and didn't come here until much, much later, which makes things really, really scary when you stop and think about the type of accesses that he's had for the last, 8 years.
Yeah, I need to go look into that a little bit. But I wanted to say one more thing about Hillary, and then thinking about the whole idea of her running and everything again. I just don't see the DNC putting anything up to that, because They bypassed her for their golden boy. It was supposed to be her turn. They bypassed her for the golden boy who had gave them the golden ticket for 8 years. And then they said, okay, finally it's your turn. Go ahead. And then there's no way she can lose. There's no way. I mean, she just has what should have been like one of the easier elections in recent history against what seems to just be a complete buffoon of a candidate. And, she loses. So they were already torn, within about Bernie Sanders and her, and, the way that we all know the way that they, manipulated all of that with the superdelegates and everything to get Hillary to have her nomination. Sorry, shouldn't shorten that when I'm talking, and you can't see that I'm spelling NOM. And so, I just don't see them putting up for her again in any way, shape, or form. She screwed the pooch.
I mean, that's the scariest thing when you really stop and think about it. With all of the conspiratorial stuff that was going on, to the point where they got the exact candidate that they wanted her to run against, because all their emails said that it had to be Trump because he was the one that they were going to be able to beat. So they lined up the media. They basically got them their marching orders, and they made sure it was Trump, to the point where everybody that's attacking him now was giving him as much free press as they could muster to make sure that the American people made the decision to vote for him, because they were positive they were going to be able to beat him. Barack Obama was positive she was going to be able to beat him. That's why, even though we knew as early as August of 2016 that the Russians were up to some shady crap when it comes to our elections, he didn't bother to say anything until October, because he was reading the pulse of the polls and everything else, and they were 93% certain that it was going to be Hillary. So he made the decision in August, at this point, we're pretty sure she's going to win. I don't want it to look like I'm meddling in anything. And then I think on some level he was like, and if she loses, we'll have a fallback position now. But they weren't expecting her to lose. Then that's another reason why he chose not to say anything, because he didn't want to make it appear as if he was trying to meddle in the election, because there was like a 7% chance, as far as they were concerned, that she wasn't going to be president of the United States. The scariest thing about all that, though, is if she was president right now, imagine how much different the news stories would be in regards to all of this stuff. Donald Trump's entire family would be in jail right now. His businesses would be in ruins, and everything that he ever touched would have been burned to the ground, that his name would have been stricken from history. If she was president right now, that's exactly what would have happened, and I think that's one of the reasons why one of the emails that started coming out when they realized that there was a shift in the polls basically said, if this man wins, we all hang. That was from Hillary, not anybody else. She said that to her team. If this man wins, we all hang. I'm starting to understand why she said that, because they had so many different things, so many different angles that they were working to stack this election in every way possible, and she still managed to mess it up.
It's kind of delicious, actually.
It's terrifying. Because we've always talked about the Clinton machine, right? And how deadly the Clinton machine is. We have this trail of bodies from like Arkansas to the White House and back again that have basically run afoul of the Clintons, and that's where they came up with the moniker, the Clinton machine, because you better not get in their way or you're going to get chewed up and spit out. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's because Bill Clinton's getting Alzheimer's. Speaking of which, have you seen pictures of him lately? The dude looks like Palpatine from Star Wars, and not in a good way.
I don't even know what to say to that, Rick.
I saw a picture of him the other day, and I'm like, the dude literally looks like when the Chancellor was turning into the dark side and became Emperor Palpatine. It's just like the sunken, soulless look, the smirk on the face, the wrinkles. I'm like, dude, this is what happens when you're evil to the core as you get older, I guess. Because he literally looks like something that is demonically possessed. And it's just scary to look at.
Well, we're not supposed to talk about looks, Rick.
I don't care. People talk about my looks all the time, and I just I don't care.
Well, I think I've had a few comments on my picture here or there. Also some really awkward DMs, so we'll move on from that.
Hey, you weren't supposed to tell anybody about that DM. I was drunk.
Whoopsies.
We had this talk. What happened to the DM was supposed to stay in the DM.
I forgot.
See? See how you are? All right. We're actually up against the bottom of the hour. We might as well take the break. It gives me a chance to cough off microphone. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. Stay tuned. I will not break. I will shut the world away. I will not fall. I will not fade. I will take your breath away.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
All right, folks, we're back. We're live. My coughing fit has mostly subsided. This is the Jen and Rick Show. Again, usually after this show, there's an America Off the Rails. Unfortunately, because of my allergies, there's no way that I can do radio by myself tonight, and I'm not going to try to fight through another hour and a half of sneezes. Anyway, we're going to change topics now. I'm going to let Jen take lead on this so you guys don't hear me sneeze.
Uh-oh. Okay. Let me get ready for it. So we all know that the newest media darling and Democrat, the Democrats' new up-and-coming, rising, shining star is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez out of New York, who, she beat New York Representative Joseph Crowley recently, and everybody was so shocked. And so she's obviously been making the rounds, and it has not been going so well. First of all, she's put her foot in her mouth several times, and I'm about to pull something up so we can talk about what that was. But then not only that, but she's starting to kind of piss off some people on the left, that being mainly because she is far left and because she is officially a member of the Democratic Socialist Party of America. She has also been taking the opportunity to punch left. So some people are getting a little bit, pissy that she's going to create more division within the Hill within the party, which could lead to them losing more seats on the Hill. So some people have openly endorsed her, and then they've kind of walked it back, and now they're, not so happy with her. So I find that kind of funny. But she's also seems to not really have a in-depth grasp of really any issue. She basically wants a even further bloated welfare state, claims it's socialism, and then argues back and forth on things several times. So she was on PBS's Firing Line last week, and she was asked about some stuff. One of the things that immediately hit the headlines was how she has talked about the occupation of Palestine. So they asked her to clarify. She said that she supposed she was referring to the Israeli settlements in some of the areas which make it difficult for Palestinians to access their housing and homes. So then Hoover, the host, asked for a fuller explanation, but she said she's not an expert on geopolitics on this issue. So she's gone around touting this a whole lot, talking about occupied Palestine and people. She's gotten all these retweets, and everyone's like, yeah, rock on, Sister Fran. And then she's like, I don't really know what I'm talking about, which seems to be maybe par for the course for this. And maybe this is why we don't elect inexperienced 28-year-olds to Congress or to run for Congress.
So the interesting thing about this is not only all of that, but apparently due to, I'm not sure if it's a procedural issue or if he's decided to run as an independent, but the guy that she beat in the primary is going to still be on the ballot.
Yeah, that was one of the latest things that came out. So it says, where is it here? I don't know, but yeah, that whole point, that whole part of it, and then now she's mad about that, so she's kind of been mouthing off here, which has led people to say, don't you know how elections work? And like New York's election laws, there's a lot of various, little ins and outs, and so this is legal, and she kind of tried to say it wasn't legal. She just seems to be stepping in it left and right. She said, that
mainly left, but yeah, I see what you meant.
But she said that when asked to explain socialism and why she supports socialism, she says no person in America should be too poor to live. Okay, we everybody agrees on that. Okay, cool. So then she says, every American should have access to health care, housing, and college education. So the host Hoover says, okay, I can agree with that, and she says she thinks that asks her why she thinks democratic socialism is the proper vehicle for achieving it. Well, she basically just said, well, it's the only organization that is actively pushing for universal health care in college. Okay, that's cool, but that doesn't answer the question. They're the only ones doing it, which is not entirely true. But what about democratic socialism would allow for this to come to fruition? And she basically couldn't describe it. And all she could keep talking about was free college, and that the democratic socialists are loudest in demanding free college. So what then, though? Because she also talked about how there's been, the issues of having low income wage earners being pushed out of the market because of automation, but then everyone needs to go to college and then they can get some of these other jobs, but I hate capitalism, but also our economy sucks, but no, actually it was really good, but except for that one. I mean, it's all over the map. She clearly has no understanding of what is going on, and cannot, other than some little kind of regurgitated talking points, she cannot go in depth on any issue, and she was left utterly exposed.
This is going to make me sound like an old man, but I don't care. She's 28 years old. What the hell does she know?
Well, especially, I mean, I know that there are a lot of 28-year-olds that might be are very accomplished and very educated and very well versed in certain areas that they, have some expertise in. Apparently, everyone kind of thought that because she spoke the way she did and she tweeted the way she did, and she went out there and just kind of grabbed it by the horns, that she was going to be one of these people. And it is really seeming like it's not. Here's her explanation about why she was asked why the current unemployment rate is so low. If the economy is bad, and if our if our policies, if our capitalism, if our markets are so bad, if they're so wrong, why is the unemployment rate so low? And she said, well, unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs. What? That's not how it's calculated. Like it doesn't matter. People go to households and ask whether they have a job. The answer is yes, whether you work 1 or whether you work 15. It's not about how many jobs you have. That doesn't create a low unemployment rate because, some people are working double, so it makes up for the other people, which is why the unemployment rate is low. This is such a basic concept to grasp that she doesn't even have a clue about. I mean, it's really embarrassing, actually. And I was stunned when I read that and saw her kind of fumble her way through explaining parts of economics and then dealing with the unemployment rate questions. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is like a bad debate between, the 19-year-olds in their first government class.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the funny thing is, when she starts talking about, unemployment rate's low because, people are working more than one job. Look, even if that were the case, what the hell is the matter with people working more than one job? Because, I don't know about you, but there have been times that I've worked sometimes as many 3 or 4 jobs. But back to your question of, honestly, the response, if I had been there, would have been this.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
That would have been it. I'd have just played that and dropped the mic and walked off. You're like, we're out. But yeah, I mean, so it's one of those things where, everybody thinks the Democratic Socialists or the Socialists or the Communists are going to be the ones that have all the answers. These people don't even understand the questions most of the time, much less have the answers. And the funny thing is when you start talking to them about it and you're like, but so the funny thing happened when Cuba became communist. Well, that's not the same thing as socialism. Funny thing happened when Venezuela became socialist. Well, that's not real socialism. So, but wait, so the countries that you're talking about that are supposedly socialist, they're not full-on socialist either. So why is it that you can call them socialist when it supposedly works, when in reality it really doesn't, because most of those countries are trying to figure out what the heck they can do to spur economic growth at this point because it's not working. One of them was actually starting to look at a uniform basic income instead of basically handing people everything, and it looks like they're going to at least think about moving to that type of a platform where it's still going to be a form of socialism, but you're going to get X amount of dollars per month, and you better use it for what the hell you need to use it for, because when it's gone, it's gone. Because it's not working. But the thing about it is we don't hear about how it's not working because they get propped up all the time. That's like the whole immigration thing that's been going on with the Muslim countries now for decades. Over in Europe, everybody talked about how great it was. Now we've got Muslim no-go zones where white people can't even go in there. We've got cops that won't even work in certain neighborhoods. We've got people being beaten in the streets. And now we want open borders here? I got 2 words for you, and one of them rhymes with truck.
Oh, well, you'll like this one. So she said, she made a claim that the motto of the present, no holds barred, Wild West hyper-capitalism, is profit at any costs. So Hoover goes on to say, okay, well, capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other economic system in human history. How do you explain that? And she basically said, well, that's just a part of the course of human evolution. I mean, I would hope that the most recent economic system, the one we have now, is the one that is most beneficial to people, everyday people. And then she goes on to say how economies evolve by becoming more automated, but then also don't throw those people away. Remember those low-skill, low-wage workers she was talking about? But she never explains anything of how socialism would make it better, how having workers own the means of production, which is what they say, how that would save more people, make people less poor, boost our economy, help. I mean, she gives no real explanation for how any of the, first of all, what exactly socialistic goals are, other than her saying free healthcare, free college, free just free. That's what she wants. And so really she's talking just about an extended, high taxation, extended welfare state. She's not really talking about socialism, because she doesn't really talk about the actual tenets of socialism or any of their long stated goals. So I think what this kind of did, and I've seen a couple people also kind of say that this could be one thing about some of these interviews she's done, is that it's exposing her that she's not actually a socialist. She is a leftist, and she is for a lot of things that can be considered socialistic in nature, but to define her as one of the first socialist candidates to be, given this kind of attention and having this popularity is just not really true.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm good. That's honestly, that'll be one of the elections I'm going to be watching rather intensely, to be honest.
And by the way, I want to say something. I understand that it is fun to make the bartender quips and all of that, but I would say that is an insult to a lot of the very intelligent bartenders I know.
Sorry, I was trying not to cough into or sneeze into the microphone.
Sorry.
It's getting worse, not better. But
that's what always happens to me towards the end of the night.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like the sun goes down and my allergies get even worse than they were. The good news is I actually did remember that we did film my steroid inhaler thing, though, so I've taken a couple shots of that. So hopefully by tomorrow I'll actually feel better. It's been sitting here staring at me the whole time, and I thought it was the old bottle, and I picked it up and realized the wife had swapped it out with the new one. Somebody actually loves me. I'm not sure why, but,
Well, good.
So, yeah, I've taken a couple of shots of that while we were talking. So, hopefully by morning, most of this crap will be back into submission again. But, so, it's just interesting to watch. Like, I have been involved in a feed all day today on my timeline where people have been talking about Trump and how he's a traitor and blah, 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 blah. So, I finally just asked the dude, I said, look, you have not stopped talking about Trump for about 16 hours on my timeline. Have you ever let any other human being in your lifetime live in your head as much rent-free as you've allowed Donald Trump to do that? I don't think about Donald Trump all the time. I only think about him when I'm flushing. So you've been flushing nonstop since 2016? I'd hate to see your water bill, because, dude, for 16 hours, it's all been Trump. I'm just sitting here saying, look, all I'm doing is trying to figure out what's going on. If Trump colluded with the Russians, I want to know about it so we can figure out what we can do to stop it. But everything that we're seeing, even the stuff that's come out from the IG report, has said there's been no known collusion with the Russians. There's been very little even unknown collusion with the Russians from anybody, because of the fact that they were basically secretly doing it through fake names and everything else, through hacking means and everything else. So half the people that had things going on didn't even know where it was coming from. That's like, I'm still not even 100% convinced that these 12 generals are the ones that actually did this, because if this is all being done through hacking means and electronically through the internet, they could have masked their IP addresses a half a dozen different ways. I can't imagine generals would have been dumb enough to have it come back to them. I'm just saying.
No, I agree. I just think that there's Trump derangement syndrome, which everyone talks about and shortens to TDS. And I think it goes both ways. There is the obsession with Trump in the negative way, and where everything is being looked at from this point of view that he is corrupt and evil and has all the malintent in the world, and so everything is looked at through that scope, and it can cause people to just not be able to use their brains and not be able to really have any sort of logical, analytical approach to politics right now. And then you've got the TDS people that are so, they're the ones that are worshiping at the Orange Jesus, right? They're the ones that have the profile pictures with Jesus, like with his hands on Trump's shoulders, and everything is he's appointed by God. He is our last hope and savior. He can do no wrong, and no matter what he says or does, they spin it into something that is super positive, super great. Everything's planned, 4D chess, all that kind of crap. And so you've got two sides of this, and then, like we've said before, you've got a bunch of us here in the middle going, WTF? Like, everybody get a grip.
Yeah, you've got the resist train, and their mantra is, everything is awful. And then you've got the Trump train, and their motto is, everything is awesome. And we're sitting here in the middle going, kind of this really does kind of suck a little bit, but this is pretty cool. And why can we not stop screaming at each other? The dude's been in office now for 2 years. I mean, look, worst comes to worst, y'all get another shot in 2020. Put up somebody besides Weekend at Bernie's, and they might have a shot. Just saying.
I think there have to be a lot of things that go. There just have to be a lot of things that go a certain way. In my opinion, I just think that it's almost impossible to unseat him right now. Now, a lot of things can happen in 2 years, but I can't see a candidate that they have that is going to be able to appeal to enough of the moderates and enough of the disgruntled right to overturn this, because even a bunch of the disgruntled right is not going to just go automatically a vote for whatever their Democratic candidate is. I know that they are appealing to that like crazy right now. It's all I see. It's like, do the right thing, do the principle thing, step over the political line in order to stop Trump, and and it's constant. It's like, yeah, but you're not offering me anything. You're not offering anything to those that are kind of ex-GOP or independent conservatives or just annoyed conservatives that would maybe consider that. You're not offering anything. You're still asking everyone to bow down and to accept your extremely leftist principles, and they're not even principles, because there's nothing principled about them. It's all of the social justice warrior crap. It's all of the over the top, social programs, and the kind of far left insanity of authoritarianism, even though they don't like it when you call it that they want out of their policies, out of their view, what they are going to be standing for in their platforms. And they're just, all they're offering for anybody that, could be appealed to is that they're claiming it might save your soul. And I'm sorry, I've got Jesus Christ for that. I don't need the Democrats for it. And that's not good enough. And I think it's going to fail. As much as they try to do this outreach, the people that are going to go over were already lost anyways. They're already on their side. The people that, but I think
oh, sorry.
But I think that there's a lot of people that could be persuaded if they would just not be insane, and if they would just put up some decent candidates that are not, acting like complete lunatics when it comes to every single frickin' topic we have.
Think they're acting.
And they won't, and they can't. They can't bring themselves. A few pop up in the States here and there, but on a national level, they just can't do it. And if they run a Kamala Harris or a Warren, or there's even a few others. I know that they're kind of grooming the Castro brothers to soon be on the national stage. Then they're not going to gain that middle ground like they think they will. Just by appealing to anti-Trump.
I really, really hope they run Warren, only because I want Trump to keep his word and on the debate stage be like, here, I've brought a DNA test. I will give you $100,000 to take this test right now.
Oh my gosh.
That would be amazing.
Well, it would be, but I don't know. He says a lot of things in bluster. I'm not sure he'd actually do it to her face. But he also could totally do it. I could totally see him doing it, and I could also see him not.
I mean, he might not do it, but it's not like he couldn't. Because the dude has no filter. That's part of what made him look completely crazy yesterday. He's all like, yeah. I mean, but here's the thing: we're running short on time, so I want to backtrack a second because this is something that actually annoyed the crap out of me yesterday. I even heard Newt Gingrich talk about how Donald Trump shouldn't have said that about our investigative agencies while he was overseas. Let me clue you guys in on something. This sudden fealty that we have to everything that involves the administrative branch of our government is insanity to me. Why should the person who has come under attack from the media and from pretty much every part of that organization, multiple organizations, since the day that he was elected, suddenly be, well, I trust and believe that our FBI is going to do the right thing? I'm sorry, I don't. Maybe the rank and file agents, I'm sure they do, but the top floor of that building is corrupt as all get out. From the fact that we now know that Strzok was from Iran. I mean, I keep flashing back to Valerie Jarrett, and I'm like, how long did these two know each other? What else is going on that we don't know about? Because every time I turn around, it's like we find out that somebody associated with the Obama campaign is from Iran. It's starting to make a lot more sense why he's suddenly giving them pallets of cash, and nobody said anything about that. We know for a fact he traded money for people. Nobody said anything about that. We know that Hillary Clinton has illegally gotten campaign contributions from other countries. Nobody's saying anything about that, but Donald Trump is a traitor because he met with Putin and sounded like a dumbass. I'm not surprised Donald Trump sounded like a dumbass. Donald Trump talks off the cuff. That works sometimes. It doesn't work sometimes. I know this because I'm a guy that does a lot of things off the cuff, and I will have these great ideas, and then I'll get up to go run a meeting, and I'll be like, oh, it's no problem. I do like hours and hours of radio a day. I could ad-lib a meeting for 20 minutes, stand up. What the fuck was I going to talk about again? Hang on. We're going to have this guy come up and talk while I think, and everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy because I didn't prep. But that's part of the problem. When you get used to flying by the seat of your pants, you always think you're going to be good at flying by the seat of your pants, and then there's days when it just sucks. Yesterday for Donald Trump was a day that it just sucked. It made today even worse because now he's had to walk back some of what he said yesterday while he was flying by the seat of his pants, and it makes him look even more like a moron. I saw it. I don't care.
I know, it cracked me up so much. I had to mute myself.
It's after dark. I don't care.
I cannot believe I don't do it more often because, especially when I get riled up about some of this kind of thing, like I cannot believe I don't say the S word and the F word more often on accident. I know we try to keep it clean, but it's bound to happen sometimes, especially the way like you and I get so passionate about it.
Well, believe it or not, that was actually pretty much intentional because I really am that mad right now that I just don't care. Because I'm just sitting here and I'm watching this and I'm like, look, you guys are expecting him to give blind loyalty to groups that have been attacking him since day one. I don't see any other person in the country that would be able to do that. If the FBI was coming at you with everything that they had, no matter what you did, day in, day out, I don't think you'd be looking at them and saying, whatever you guys find out, I respect what you're doing. I don't see that happening. You know why I don't see that happening? Look at groups like Black Lives Matter. That, it's fine for them to come out against cops because cops are the bad guys because they feel like they've been treated unfairly. But God forbid a president who's been taking flack from the FBI for 2 years stands on foreign soil and says, yeah, you know what? I'm not so sure I believe the guys that are running this investigation, especially after what we've seen out of some of these hearings. I can't really blame him for saying it. Would I have said it? Probably not. Would I have said it in that setting? Probably not. But we elected a bull in a china shop. What the hell did you expect?
Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. It's Trump. He can be somewhat unpredictable in the way of he might just go off, but you're not sure how he's going to, or you're like, oh crap. Sometimes he gets up and I'm like, oh crap. What's he going to say? What's he going to do? What's he going to say? But the point that is predictable is that that you're like, there's a loose cannon and that mouth might run and Lord knows what is going to come out of it. So that part of it is not shocking because we all know, and they knew that way before he was elected. So whatever. That's
It's kind of like the outrage with Roseanne and the Twitter account. ABC, you knew what you got when you hired her. America, you knew what you were getting from Trump when you hired him. It's like Gordy said on One Nation Under Food, and I'm not just plugging that because he's in the chat room. It's because it's true. He's like the Leslie Nielsen of presidents. We've elected an idiot savant who backs into things and makes them work, and I'm not sure how he does it, but on the times it works, it makes him look like a genius. On the times it doesn't, it's like we've sent Forrest Gump to Washington.
No, that's perfect. I love that.
I mean, and it really is, and that's why everybody who was like all up in arms yesterday, I'm watching Fu and everybody else be like, we told you he was an idiot. Why didn't you listen to us? And I'm saying, well, you know, I mean, it's pretty true. I mean, and it's one of the things that I've said even now. You know, there are times when what he does works, and there are times when what he does doesn't work. Him in a public setting in front of a microphone is a really, really bad idea because he has an ego the size of China. And he's at that point, he's playing for the crowd. He's not thinking about what he's saying. He's playing for crowd reaction because he's learned how to do the things that he's done, that he's learned how to do from being the center of attention. And he does whatever he has to do to maintain being the center of attention. That's why the media can't keep up with him. Everything that he says, he's got them dangling on a string. That's like half the time he'll let little things slip when he's talking to the media and they don't catch it. And then some big news story comes out like 2 days later. And then they're like, holy crap, he said this like 2 days ago and nobody caught it. And that's like there was, I don't remember what it was. There was something that came out about 6 months ago. And somebody went back and found a tweet where Donald Trump had said the exact same thing in like 2013. It was something to do with his Me Too movement stuff. One of the people that got named in it, he had said that they were probably going to be in trouble for doing some things they shouldn't do, like all the way back in 2013. And that's just the kind of things that he does. Because you got to remember, he's not a politician, but he's running these circles for years. He knows where the bodies are buried. Because all of these people are his friends. That's another reason why they hate him now. Because he knows all their secrets.
Yeah, I think there's definitely at least some kernel of truth to that. I mean, you don't run in those circles for that long and not build up a rapport and also stack up the favors and the enemies and knowing what they are. I mean, knowing who they are in a more real setting than say in Congress or on in the political DC circuit, because he ran with them in entertainment circles and in charity circles and in social circles, where people are much more likely to, kind of show themselves a little bit. So I'm sure he has built quite the little arsenal when it comes to all of that.
And I still, honestly, people are going to think I'm crazy. I'm not the first person that said this, but I'm going to go ahead and put this out now. Knowing what we know now, which is that Donald Trump was the one that actually called for this meeting with Putin, I think if anybody's got anything on anybody, I think Trump had something on Putin. Why the hell else would Putin have sat out there in front of everybody and basically let dirt fly on Hillary Clinton?
I don't know. You might be onto something.
But anyway, on that note, we are well above the top of the hour. I wasn't really that worried about it because I'm not doing my show anyway, but I know you've got a kiddo to put to bed, so we should probably start wrapping up. Any last topics you want to talk about?
I don't think so. That's about it.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing, too. Anyway, thanks for tuning in live. We'll be back tomorrow night. I do plan on doing an America Off the Rails tomorrow night. Also, don't forget, we'll kick off the night with the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show, then shoot straight over to the Justice POV Show, and then there'll be an hour break, at least for now. I'm actually working on trying to get something put into that hour break, but it looks like the folks that I'm talking to now have another night in mind, so we'll keep trying to plug some stuff in there. And then at that point, we are going to, and then of course, we also have on the Spark Radio Network side, the One Nation Under Foo, so feel free to go check that out. And on that note, we're going to get out of here. Hopefully, I can let some of this allergy medicine do its work so I can maybe do a show tomorrow without having to mute myself every 30 seconds like I've had to do tonight. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out in the chat. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Take care. God bless. We'll see you when we see you. I will not bow. I will not